The room was cold, filled with the sterile hum of fluorescent light. A single phone lay on the metal table, fractured, stained with something that looked like blood and rain. The forensic technician didn't want to touch it. "We were never supposed to open it," he whispered, before the hum of the restoration software swallowed his voice. The phone belonged to Menglong, an actor, a singer, a man whose death had already been declared an accident. Yet, as the progress bar on the monitor crept upward, it felt like the room itself began to breathe. When the screen flickered to life, the first line of data appeared: last recording, 2:37 a.m. Outside, Beijing's night pressed against the lab's windows, and rain struck the glass like fingers begging to be let in. They called themselves the Phoenix Unit, specialists in digital resurrection. They were used to damage drives, erased evidence, things the living wanted gone. But none of them had ever seen a phone fight back. The system lagged. The interface glitched. At one point the screen displayed a string of text that hadn't been in any directory. Stop. When the recovery completed, folder structure appeared like a skeleton map. Hundreds of deleted images, dozens of encrypted voice notes, text threads that ended mid-sentence. But one file drew immediate attention: Final Vertum of. The technician clicked play. Static flooded the speakers. Then, a voice. Soft, trembling. "This gets out," you said. "It means I couldn't make it." He wasn't acting. Behind him was a half-lit room, a single metal chair, and something moving just outside the frame. The sound that followed was mechanical, a slow, rhythmic tap, like metal striking tile. Then, abruptly, silence. The final second of the clip contained a flash of light and a shape, someone standing in the reflection of a glass door. The figure didn't move, but its shadow bent wrong, stretching sideways instead of down. The report about the restored data reached the newsroom 3 days later. I was assigned the story. They told me not to sensationalize, not to speculate. Just the facts, the editor said. But when I opened the folder the police had reluctantly shared, the facts felt like lies waiting to happen. Metadata said the video had been recorded just 45 minutes before usefall. His blood alcohol level had been high, but not enough to distort time. The timestamps on his messages, however, didn't match. One message to his assistant was sent at 2:48 a.m., 3 minutes after the phone had stopped recording. The digital trail led to a private server registered in Shanghai, a dead link, wiped remotely at exactly 3 a.m. He synced his data manually, said a former engineer from the production team, requesting anonymity. Someone knew his access keys. That phone didn't just fall with him, it was watching him. The more I dug, the stranger the silence around his death became. The building's security cameras had gone dark between 2:30 and 3 a.m. due to maintenance. The elevator logs were erased. Even his social media drafts vanished within minutes after the news broke. Only one draft remained in cache, a post scheduled for 3:05 a.m. with the words, "Scene 7, cut" never came. For weeks, fans filled comment sections with theories that he was trapped by a controlling agency, that he was filming a secret project. It uncovered something no one was meant to see. I didn't believe any of it until I saw the second recovered clip. It was only 7 seconds long, recorded through the phone's front camera. The frame was almost completely black except for his eyes. They darted left, then right. "Still here," he whispered. A faint outline appeared behind him, indistinct, tall, almost blending with the wall. Then the clip ended with a digital snap, as if the phone had been shut with force. When I replayed the file, something new, an echo in the background that wasn't his voice. I ran it through an audio filter. Words were faint but clear: "Delete it now." No one could explain the presence of an app hidden in the device's memory, labeled MLog. It wasn't part of any known system. It had recorded sound constantly in short fragments. Most were ordinary, the buzz of a studio, hum of a car. But the last file, logged at 2:33 a.m., was different. Use voice again, quieter. Strained, they said if I tell the truth, no one will believe me. Then came a sound like water dripping, slow and deliberate, followed by the hollow thud of footsteps on a balcony. By the time the investigation reopened, the Phoenix unit had been reassigned. Lab sealed. Officially. The data was inconclusive. Unofficially, one of the technicians messaged me from an untraceable number. There was another file. We didn't restore it. It restored itself. At 2:17 a.m. the following night, my inbox received an attachment with no subject. It was a screen recording of a phone's interface, his phone. The cursor navigated through folders on its own, opening MLog, playing one of the recorded clips. The voice that came through wasn't Hughes. It was metallic, synthesized, almost human. Truth dies in silence. The playback stopped abruptly, and the cursor typed 3 letters into the search bar, U. I slammed my laptop shut. The room felt colder. Outside my window, rain began to fall, slow, precise, rhythmic, just like the tapping in the video. When I reopened the laptop, the file was gone. No trace, no metadata. Not even in temp files. A single thumbnail image left behind in the recycle bin, a frame of Hugh's cracked phone screen reflecting something behind him. The reflection wasn't his. It looked like someone holding another phone, recording him back. That night I wrote the first line of this report. It might be my last. Because sometimes the dead don't stay buried, and sometimes truth doesn't want to be found. The next morning, I received a call from a block number. The voice on the other end was distorted, as if filtered through static. Stop looking for the file, it said. Not meant for the living. Before I could answer, the line went dead. That same day, an envelope arrived at my office. No sender. Inside was a USB drive and a printed photo, the same image that had been left in my recycle bin. But this time, someone had written in red ink across the bottom edge, the scene wasn't finished. The USB contained a single encrypted folder. It opened by a digital forensics contact. Someone who owed me favors. When the decryption completed, the folder revealed fragments of system logs, cache of corrupted videos, and one working GPS file. The coordinates led to an apartment complex in Chaoyuan district, an old building used as temporary housing for film crews. I went there 2 nights later. Still hanging in the air like residue from another world. The elevator was broken, so I climbed the stairs. Apartment 704 was on the corner. Its door was sealed with police tape that had long since lost its stickiness. I stepped inside. The air was heavy with mildew and something else, a metallic tang that clung to the tongue. The room was empty except for a chair, a standing light. Old film camera set up in the corner. On the wall, scrawled in what looked like dried paint, but smelled too sharp to be paint, were the words, Scene 7, cut never came. In the center of the floor lay a cracked phone battery, matching the serial number from Hugh's device. Photographed everything. Sent it to the editor. He told me to leave immediately. This story isn't safe anymore, he said. But curiosity is a cruel master. I turned on the film camera. Inside, there was still an SD card. When I played it back on my laptop, the footage showed Hugh sitting in the same chair, the same wall behind him. His expression was unreadable, not fear, not calm. Something in between. They told me this would be art. Said to the lens. But art doesn't scream. He glanced sideways, as if following a movement off-screen. Then the video froze. Frame by frame. His pupils dilated unnaturally. The final frame showed his lips forming a single word, run. When I extracted the audio, a second track appeared beneath it, a low hum that wasn't part of the ambient sound. When slowed down 300%, became speech. A woman's voice, whispering the same phrase repeatedly. The contract wasn't a script. It was a confession. My hands went cold. I began connecting dots, the production company, the manager. The mysterious project that was never released. Showed that you had been attached to a conceptual film known only as Project Mirror. Officially, it was cancelled due to creative differences. Unofficially, the project was rumored to involve immersive psychological experiments, blending real emotions with staged events. Said that the boundary between acting and reality was intentionally erased. One technician who worked on post-production told me in confidence. He wasn't supposed to die. But the footage demanded authenticity. The deeper I went, the more trails I found wiped clean. Emails deleted. Cloud backups missing. The studio's website vanished overnight, replaced by a blank page that displayed a single blinking cursor. I viewed the page source. Embedded within the code was a hidden message. You can't delete what remembers you. Turned into weeks. Every time I wrote a draft, something in my computer glitched. Text would rewrite itself. Words reversing order. Night, while editing, My laptop camera light flickered on by itself. Recording app opened automatically. A file began downloading. Labeled MLog Rising. Against my better judgment, I let it complete. Inside were voice notes, use again. Though these had never been recovered before. The first message was calm. If anyone finds this, don't trust what they show you. The second was broken, full of static. They're using my image, I'm still alive in their footage. And the last one, only 5 seconds long, is the most terrifying. You're hearing this because it's learning you. The message ended with a digital pulse, high and piercing, like feedback from an unseen speaker. My phone on the table buzzed immediately after, a notification from an unknown app. The icon was blank. The screen flashed once, then displayed the same coordinates I'd visited in Chaoyang. But the timestamp had changed, to that very moment. I returned to the apartment building with a police contact. The place was gone. Not sealed. Not emptied, gone. Where it had stood was now a demolition site surrounded by tarps. No record of its existence in the property database. No footage from the street cameras. The structure was condemned years ago. Said a construction worker, frowning at me. No one's lived here since 2021. Still had the SD card. When we examined it in a controlled environment, the metadata revealed something impossible. The recording date on use video wasn't September 2025, but November 2025, 2 months after his death. A glitch, they said. A time sync error. The signature hash matched perfectly to his device ID, meaning the footage couldn't have been fabricated. Voice was undeniably his. The editor refused to publish. If this is true, he said, it means someone's rewriting reality through data. That night, I received an anonymous email from an address titled Scene 7 and no text. Just a single attachment, a binary file named Truth Bin. When decoded, the ASCII output read, "Truth dies in silence. Don't let mine." And beneath it, coordinates again, this time pointing to the very police digital lab where the investigation had begun. I returned there at dawn. The lab was empty. Equipment dismantled. On one of the workstations, a lone phone rested under a glass dome. The same model as use. Its cracked screen flickered weakly. Stepped closer. The display illuminated, showing the front camera feed. I was looking at myself. In the reflection, another figure appeared behind me, blurred, tall, unmoving. The room's temperature plummeted. The phone vibrated once, and a message appeared across the screen in glowing text. Cut. The lights went out. When I came to, the phone was gone. Only the glass dome remained, fogged from the inside, as if something had breathed within it. My editor never heard from me that night. The files I had gathered vanished from every drive, every backup, every print copy. A week later, a parcel arrived at the office addressed to the reporter who listened. Inside was a phone, my phone, cracked in the same place as use. It powered on by itself, flashing the familiar message. Last recording. 2:37 a.m. And then, the voice, his voice, whispered through the speaker. Calm and almost relieved. 8 begins. The screen went black.